Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube. So, this is definitely quite a bit of a trend here within the vinyl community. And of course, kind of started, I guess, with the Captain Handlebar's channel. This, of course, is like the 10 most common albums within your, collection. Albums that at least people should at least own, mostly popular albums, I guess you could say, ones that are, big or so most known in ways, but in a way, common albums. Ones that you can definitely find very easily at your record store. Basically that. So, I've definitely at least put together at least 10 records. A little tough because I got quite a bit of common albums. Everyone's got common albums within their collection. You're just picking the ones that at least are at least pretty good, ones that either kind of show a bit, maybe, to me at least, dive into my taste or so, or kind of get in a, a good, little definition, at least a good, understanding of that person's taste, whatever, kind of like that, in a way, I guess the way I see it. But, in a way, not all of these, some of these albums in here might not be some of my favorites, but these are albums that are definitely pretty popular, so let's definitely get to it so I can shut up. So definitely coming in at here, not really, I guess, in a particular order, but I'm just going in from somewhat, whatever, I don't know. Here we go. This should be one that should be in everyone's collection, right? Our Killers by Iron Maiden. Come on, it should be. Of course, this is probably the most popular album from the Paul Di'Anno era, because there was only, at least I guess you can say, 2 studio albums and 1 live album that came out during the Paul Di'Anno era. That live one being, Made in Japan was called, and it was basically kind of an EP, I guess you can say, but it was a live record. And this one being the second and last album for Paul Di'Anno, and it's probably the most relatively most common when it comes to this era. So in a way, this should be, I know everyone showed Number of the Beast, which was of course Bruce Dickinson's debut, but come on, this is probably one of the most, the second most real common album next to me, like Power Slave, in a way. But yeah. Come on, it should be. I don't want to make this too long. Alright, there's another one. I know people have been showing quite a bit of this band's stuff. At least 2 people I know, or 1 person I think, showed one of their albums in their video, and this of course was Cloudy Mulder, but I chose another album by this band that is definitely relatively common in ways. That's of course this Painkiller by Judas Priest. Should be, right? This was of course the album that, in a way, kind of repopularized, kind of kindled sort of people's, interest back into Judas Priest, since they kind of experimented a bit with Turbo and of course Ram It Down. Then in 1990, they came back with Painkiller. Of course, this would be the last album for definitely a long time for Rob Halford, but Painkiller was definitely a pretty popular album for Judas Priest. Probably people ranking this album almost next to like Scream for Vengeance, or in some ways British Steel, or Defenders of the Faith, or even like Stained Class from 1970. Another album I almost thought about adding in this list, because of that album is definitely starting to become very common with most VC members, I've noticed. But when it comes to the, I guess, that sort of, real crushing metal sound that Judas Priest was starting to be very known for, this album. So in a way, this of course was pretty popular also with a lot of the European power metal crowd. So in a way, this should be a common album in your collection, right? Should be. Alright, next one here. I know there's another band that was definitely shown, at least in Cloudy Mulder's list, but the album he showed was a pretty another definitely popular album. I have that album, but I want to show another album that was also relatively popular also for this band. Of course, it's Overkill by Motorhead. Should be in your collection, right? Or anyone's. This is definitely probably next to Ace of Spades. It's probably definitely one of the most common Motorhead albums. It's got Overkill, Stay Clean, No Class, Damage Case, which Damage Case was also, you know, covered by, if I'm correct, Metallica. Of course, the song Overkill was also covered by Metallica and by many other metal bands. Of course, you got Metropolis. So, this is almost, you can say, almost a greatest hits album in its own. But anyway, this should be in your collection, right? Should be. Almost thought of putting in like Bomber maybe, but again, that one's probably the most popular album. I need a little drink for a bit. Drinking best damn cherry cola. In the mood for an alcohol beverage. Okay, another one here. This is pretty much my fourth here. This is the vinyl. Come on. The only people I know that showed this band is Cotty Melder and of course Backyard Metals Backwoods Metals video. Of course, this Master of Reality by Black Sabbath. Come on, it should be in your in your collection. It should be, right? I know the first album was shown by Cotty Melder and Backwoods Metal Show Paranoid. Both great albums. However, there's another one when it comes to popular Black Sabbath albums is Master of Reality. Definitely an album that was also very, kind of really mostly influential to that stoner doom metal sound than really the first two albums in a way. Sure, the first album, you know, well, let's be honest, probably the most popular heavy metal album because of its, you know, due to its existence and when it was released. However, Master of Reality was probably the album that really put that whole idea of doom metal to the pedal. But anyway, we got Sweet Leaf on here, After Forever. We got Children of the Grave. Come on, one of the most it's a fan favorite as track. You got Into the Void, another song that was covered by quite a bit of doom metal bands. Even the thrash metal band Exhorder covered the track. So it should be a common album in your collection. All right, there's another album here. I know I haven't seen anyone else show this. I don't know. I haven't really watched Captain Hannibal's video, so I don't know if this band was ever shown in this video. I should have, but anyway. Machine Head by Deep Purple. Come on. Another album that's also pretty popular. What two tracks this album is very best known for having? Highway Star and Space Truckin'. Yeah. This should be very much a common album and should be in almost anyone's collection. It should be, right? So of course it's a great album. It's definitely, again, probably like next to Black Sabbath's first two albums. Even I could have put it in Rock, which is another popular album by Deep Purple, but this sound is probably their most popular album, especially when it comes to the Ian Gillan era of Deep Purple. You can't get any more classic than Machine Head. Maybe in the live album, you know, Made in Japan, not Maiden, but Made in Japan, which I also have, but I chose this sound because this is a very common album when it comes to Deep Purple. Alright, so next one up here is, of course, Dire Madman by Ozzy Osbourne. I know Backwoods Metal showed Blizzard of Oz, so I decided to show Dire Madman. Another popular album for Ozzy Osbourne, and also known for being the last one to feature the very young Randy Rhoads. Definitely, this album is of course known for having Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, Little Dolls. I think Tonight was also quite a bit of a, actually you could say almost this whole album almost was. This is a another, common Ozzy Osbourne album. Probably even next like Blizzard of Oz, and Bark at the Moon. When it comes to even like No More Tears also was a pretty popular album for Ozzy Osbourne. But again, this one, it's a very common album. Should be in anyone's collection, right? Should be. Come on. You don't recognize that artwork? should be in your collection, right? Alright, I'm done fucking with them yet. I'm done fucking with you. Over there. Probably not. Alright, here's the next one. I know that Cloudy Milder showed this band's one record, which I also have, but this album also should be a very popular album for Metallica, and that's of course is Ride the Lightning. It should be. Now, this was definitely, of course, this album, probably biggest hit off of this one is For Whom the Bell Tolls. Probably the most, probably one of the, next to probably like stuff off of Master of Puppets. It's one of the most overplayed Metallica songs in a way. You hear it in movies, you hear it in video games, you hear it definitely on the radio. This is the most, almost probably next to Master of Puppets, or even the Black Album, as one of the most popular Metallica albums. So, it definitely should be in your collection because of that, right? Okay, next one. This band has definitely been showed by both Cloudy Milder and of course Backwoods Metal, and if you don't know me or don't know my channel, you probably should know that this is probably one of my biggest, one of my most all-time favorite bands. Of course it's AC/DC, and of course with Let That Be Rock. Back in Black was showed in Cloudy Milder's video, and of course Highway to Hell was shown in Backwoods Metal. So I'm showing Let That Be Rock, another album that is very much kind of popular for AC/DC. Of course it's best known for having the title track. You got, of course, Whole Lotta Rosie on here. Go Down's another really good track off of here. Dog Eat Dog, Bad Boy Boogie, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Overdose. Of course, if you had gotten this, of course, is not the European pressing, but if you had the European pressing, instead of having Problem Child, which was taken off of the Dirty Deeds Under Cheap album, you would have gotten a song called Crab City in Blue, which is a very unknown track, by the most deepest cut for this album. But in a way, this is the American copy, which is probably in everyone's collection when it comes to AC/DC. So, should be a popular album based off of, just the songs off of here. Almost any AC/DC album is pretty much common in a way. Everyone's pretty much going to have an AC/DC album. Almost kind of same with like Motorhead, or like Metallica, or Black Sabbath, or any of those bands. There's just certain bands within here, or like Deep Purple, whatever, that have such a huge fan base, or at least enough people, or because of them being such common albums, it's probably going to be in almost everyone's collection. So this should be in almost anyone's collection. Alright, next one here. I haven't seen this band also next to probably Deep Purple shown within these videos, because there's not a whole, as far as I know, only been 4 or 3 I think of these type of videos out. But here, second one, Moving Pictures by Rush. Come on, it should be. Now, I like Rush. Probably not my favorite album by Rush, because I like mostly the first 3 albums. Of course, some of Rush's stuff anyway is pretty common, but when it comes to real big popular albums, either 2112 or Moving Pictures, which is just a very popular album from Rush, released in 1981. On here you got, definitely probably there are 2 really big songs off of here, as of course is Tom Sawyer and YYZ. YYZ probably one of the most, probably one of my favorite tracks off of here. It's definitely a great instrumental, as when it comes to it. It's such a very manic track that kind of almost definitely goes back to those early albums in some ways, maybe like 2112. So anyway, this sound should be almost in anyone's collection. Of course, this sound kickstarted the more real popular stuff, their 80s period, where they really pushed the whole real AOR, real glossy sound that would definitely be frequent with most 80s Rush albums. Because that. So what's the number one album here? It might be the most number one common album within my collection. There's quite a bit of others in here. I got the first Van Halen album. I got quite a bit of Van Halen actually. I got the first, second, another common album when it comes to Van Halen. I got Women and Children first. I got that. I got quite a bit of AC/DC. I got some Aerosmith. I could have thrown in Rocks. Another real common album for Aerosmith. Of course, Get a Grip, and of course even Get Your Wings was in some ways kind of common. Even I don't have a copy of Toys in the Attic, but again, I always see that album a lot, and it's definitely another popular album. But I have heard that one. It's a good album. Of course, you got Permanent Vacation by Aerosmith, another album that is definitely pretty popular. But what album here might be the most popular, in my opinion, when it comes to, it doesn't matter what genre. I also have some Def Leppard. I got Power Mania. I got, On Through the Night. Not necessarily a common album, but it's definitely a common album that you see everywhere. But is it going to be in everyone's, collection? Maybe not. I was almost thinking about putting High and Dry in here. Kind of is. Best known for having Bring On the Heartbreak. Yeah, but right now, of course, Hysteria being another popular Def Leppard album. However, what is? I'm gonna take another drink to build up suspense. Eliminator by ZZ Top. This might be probably the most, when really looking at my collection, this probably might be the most common album. This album, probably next to AC/DC's Back in Black, as probably one of the most really popular rock albums of all time. Of course, this was a really huge hit for ZZ Top. Sure, my favorite stuff is our 70s stuff. Basically, the London years. Everything from the first album up through about, Tejas. But, sure, Tres Hombres is another real popular album for ZZ Top, pretty much giving birth to one of their other real big hits. That's, of course, is LaGrange. However, what other album that could probably really top Tres Hombres in terms of real popularity and, within the mainstream is Eliminator. Look at the tracks we got on this album. You got Give Me All Your Lovin', Sharp Dressed Man, Legs, even TV Dinners was also pretty big for some whiles as well. Got Me Under Pressure, Dirty Dog might have been. This album was just a real popular album. But I think because of having Give Me All Your Lovin', Got Me Under Pressure, Sharp Dressed Man, Legs, and of course, TV Dinners and some of all these premium songs, this is a pretty popular album for ZZ Top. You can't go anywhere without probably hearing Sharp Dressed Man. Or even Legs, for that matter. Just a real popular album for ZZ Top. And one of the most, again, real huge album for them. Just a real huge one. That definitely kind of catapulted them into more that real 80s mainstream. With definitely same thing that happened with like Rush, where they really glossied up their production, which definitely really was more, prevalent. I mean, very much, heard more throughout their album after this one, Afterburner, just a horrible album. Horrible. But then, of course, you go on albums such as Recycler. Well, what's the most biggest song off of that one? I'm having a hard time with that one, even though I should. I'm just, where is it? Oh yeah, Double Back. Probably being the most real popular song off the Recycler album. Best known for being used in the third Back to the Future album. But here, this is probably the most popular ZZ Top album and should be almost anyone's collection in some ways. Alright, I definitely went on for quite a bit for this one. But yeah, these are all the most common albums in my collection and should be almost seen as very common albums. So, of course, what we were listening to the background, of course, was Rose Tattoo, first album. Now, could it be seen as a common album? I don't know. Maybe not, because not a whole lot of people know who Rose Tattoo are. So, kind of fairly uncommon, almost unfairly, in a way. They should have been almost as big as AC/DC. Anyways. So, until then, I'll probably be back with a review. So, until then, this is Every Scratch as I am out, and I'll see you later.